And we are back from the break. And it is a new day. You are now on the third day here in Tukori. And there was some talk about doing a little bit of a reconnaissance to see what you did, to see what effects what you've done may have had.
I mean, besides the menagerie, there wasn't like any other facilities they were showing other than the animals. They weren't trying to do like side activities or anything.
Well, no, I mean the menagerie has other acts in it, if that's what you mean.
I mean, other than us just constantly seeing the animals, i.e., if we went there.
Well, again, there are other acts. There was I can't remember exactly what I said, but I mean, yeah, there's other things besides just the animals to see.
I mean, you would think that they would have animal trainers for some of them and have them do tricks.
I mean, we need to get an animal trainer for our Wolf. just loan him your wolf for a few days if any was here.
But yeah, so I mean, there are other things to do. It's just, I mean, they're obviously the secondary to the animal shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's not like so you can spend the whole day there.
Yeah. So, what is it? Things like coconut shop, where you throw balls at coconuts to knock them over?
No. There's just other like sideshow type stuff. Unusual people doing unusual tricks.
Right. Are we gonna do more reconnaissance on the siege weapons to see if we could sabotage them? Obviously, I would have relayed what siege weapons they had.
And people could get in.
Solas doing engineering to tell me where the best to sabotage them is, most subtle.
Could I recognize something like that in there?
I mean, if you do if you do a check, then yeah, you can.
I assume because engineering would fit into, putting like a mechanical flaw in the machine or something.
Didn't somebody, Finn? Did you suggest doing something with a catapult shot?
Yeah, but that was for like the last day there. Otherwise, we noticed.
Okay.
I think when we go there and study the place, I might recognize something there.
Sounds silly. What if you went there yourself, invisible and flying?
I would have to have Leva cast invisibility for me.
I take it you don't know the spell yourself.
I haven't learned it yet.
So
I'm not that sneaky type.
I mean, the thing is that
they were mad.
You're familiar with heavy weapons, so yeah, I think that you can do that. You made a successful check, so you can come up with some things. I'd probably need another check of some sort, depending on whether you did it yourself or whether other people did it, whether you just instructed them, to see if they pulled it off correctly. But it doesn't necessarily have to be done now either.
If we were discussing this the night before, I mean, I could have taken an horizon for memory because I can remember a phrase or something. But
we have a few days still time, so this can just be recognize a trip here. Do a bit more recon in the place and see if we can come more ideas, and then on the last few days we can start implementing those ideas.
Actually, this is something I might have discussed with Finn the night before. If you're with mine, a bit of retcon. So basically, we might have changed different spells or so.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I would have gone to Finn and I'd be like, So what if we made it out that there's some kind of like animal disease that's like spreading to people, or spreading, to make them shut down or something, and you just happen to be a healer who could get an up close and see how they're being kept. As, oh, you don't need to be doing this because this is how this disease is spreading. We could instigate something that could get you on the inside as a caretaker, or if you follow my train of thought.
I'm not sure what we'd gain by that, though.
You would literally be able to walk around the ship within reason, going to place, see how they're kept, etc., because you'd be investigating this mysterious disease or some plague or something. But that would give us like an inside view, a map of like their layout, their defenses and stuff, even a minor extent. I mean, it's an idea.
But it's possible all the animals are not on the ship at the moment.
Well, they're definitely not on the ship at the moment. They're out in the display area.
I mean, but we could do like minor horizons, giving like the animals like some rashes or something, some minor inconvenience. I mean, it wouldn't cause any permanent harm, but you could like say, hey, those animals have so and so problem with them. If you don't deal with this quickly, it will start spreading. Then Lafdul will start casting it on a few of the animals. See, it's already started spreading. Cough, cough.
Finn wouldn't go for that.
No.
Well, might be something that requires a bit more preparation anyway, rather than something that just suddenly appears. I mean, they've had these animals for at least a few weeks in a few different places, and they haven't had any problems yet, so. Now, in terms of reconnaissance, some of it's going to depend on exactly what you want to gain from the reconnaissance. It might be as easy as just going there invisible or in an obtrusive form and watching for a little while to see, whether you're noticing anyone acting or doing anything unusual. It wouldn't necessarily have to be something where you're all going there to the show itself, kind of thing. So keep that in mind. And yes, Lafdul.
Was the Fomorian speaking in Fomorian, or Giants, or whatever?
Yeah, they're generally talking to each other in their own language.
Need a tongue spell for that one.
Well, you need a tongue spell to talk to them. I think you can do that with comprehend languages to understand.
Yeah, that's not a spell I have access to.
Ah, okay.
I've learnt, rather. There is a priest version, but if you have to learn it, it's not automatic. It's like second level or something.
Alright.
I don't even know if I'd get access to that, to be honest.
Does Leva have invisibility memorized?
She'd have at least one, yeah.
If she is willing to cast invisibility to me, I could go invisible flying and go take a look the things, all the machinery and siege weapons that I could possibly sabotage with engineering or instruct someone else to do.
Well, if you're invisible and flying, then you could probably just go do it or try it yourself.
Yeah, but I don't know if I want to do it today, at least not on all of them.
So... Question.
Well, hold on. Is that related to this? Because I'd like to figure out what he wants to do first.
Yeah, mine was related to that.
Alright.
Yep. Is whether or not sabotage would break his visibility.
No.
It's not hostile act against the person or creature.
Oh, it has to be against an entity.
Not necessarily, but the fact that you're just working on something. Like that's not. Like if you set up a tripwire to trip people, that's not going to break invisibility either.
Alright.
Before you go, Solas, do you think you might be able to sabotage something like the steering mechanism on the ship?
It depends on the steering mechanism.
That's true.
It's all I can say for certain is that there are some things that I most likely will be able to sabotage if there's no one near them.
Mm.
Is there a steering mechanism? I thought you just adjusted the sails if we're constantly going forward.
Well, it could be that. Depends on the ship.
Yeah, it depends on the ship. It's different for every ship, or at least every ship
Yeah.
type.
Some ships might have fins, the crew turn, and some might have sails.
Yeah,
Some
I
might
think
have
I
a
think
boat.
that would not be an engineering thing. That would be a shipwright kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I guess
So
I'll
But
who
have
there's
would
no
be
like
able to-
ship rudder with a wheel. That's what I was thinking. There wouldn't be anything like that.
Some definitely do. Some definitely do.
Oh.
Yeah, some do, especially those that are also seaworthy.
Yeah, when they're on the sea, but
Yeah.
No,
but,
even
they
so, it's
still
still
have those.
yeah, and it still
would
is used
apply.
in space. Yeah, it depends on the ship. Not knowing this ship type is probably going to make it too difficult for you to do, though.
That's true. Yeah, but you can get the weapons. That'd be good.
Yeah, I will concentrate on the weapons and machinery, and since we have multiple days, we can always make Braxon invisible and flying and do sabotage on those navigation or movement mechanics.
Okay, so you want to become invisible and fly over and start working on the ship weapons, if you can?
Yeah, I will basically do one quick recognize flight over all the ships and such, and look for the ones that I can do without being noticed.
If Finn would go with you, we'll have a pair of eyes, so to speak. While you're looking at the machinery, someone could be keeping a lookout. I mean, you're invisible.
Finn can come with me if he wants.
Yeah, I'll go with.
Okay. Are you're gonna change form?
Yes, so I can fly on my own.
Okay. What type of form do you want?
I'll go as a bat.
Okay. And how long does your flight last for, Finn? I mean, Solas?
Flight lasts just a moment. Where was it? There. It's 1 turn per level plus 1d6 turns, and I'm 9th level, so it's minimum of 10 turns.
Okay. All right.
I will cast Blessed Watchfulness on Finn.
Okay.
So it's just like, I mean, it takes a one to surprise him. So
yeah. All right. So the two of you go off. Are the rest of the is the rest of the party gonna wait and see what they return, what they report back?
Once I'm certain that I've spent too much time that I could not fly back with the fly spell, I will basically look some quiet area where no one would notice if I cast spells invisible and polymorph self.
If you spend 90 minutes, an hour and a half, you can easily that leaves you a minimum of 10 minutes left on your spell. That's plenty of time to fly outside of the walls.
Yeah, that was just in case scenario.
Yeah. All right.
I have polymorph self for that.
Okay. All right, so you two fly, and I'm okay with you kind of making some signals to each other. Although, no, actually,
Ultra high frequency
yeah.
bat signals.
So, well, no, bats can make normal sounds
screech.
too. But
If
so
if
hold on, let me finish talking,
okay,
please.
sorry.
The fact that Finn is a bat means that you're not invisible to him. So he's going to know exactly where you are.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I'm
Oh,
only
echolocation.
I'm only invisible for visible spectrums.
All right.
Visible.
So, Finn, are you going to guard, or do you also want to scout? Like, do you want to like scout around uh, the menagerie, see if there's anything obvious going on or anything like that, or are you just going to be like there as backup? Like, what do you want to do?
Kind of a quick scout around, but um, keeping an eye on Solas.
Okay. All right. Oh, we're getting a raid from Lord Kosumba. Thank you very much. A party of 75. Fantastic. Hope you guys had
Welcome,
a
Raiders.
good stream. We are underground in a special crystal sphere in Spelljammer, and the party has a mission to try and get a rescue a very large creature that is still a baby, and that's currently what they're doing. They're doing a little bit of scouting, trying to sabotage the heavy weapons. All right, so you two fly over to essentially the wall and get a quick survey of what you're seeing. Both of you go ahead and give me intelligence checks, please.
That's a success.
Okay, Finn?
Mine just missed.
Okay. So, Solas, you're pretty sure there's some unusual activity going on with the crew of the menagerie. Exactly what you can't say right now, and neither of you can understand any of the words being spoken.
I will take notice of it, and I will quickly whisper to Finn that it's most likely that they've noticed the heist.
Okay. So you two fly over towards the mammoth ship and get a quick survey. There are some guards on the top near some of the weapons. So I think, Solus, you can get to 4 of the 8 heavy weapons on there. So you won't be able to sabotage them all.
Yeah.
And based on how they're positioned, you're pretty sure that they're in kind of fixed positions as opposed to, like, it doesn't seem like they'd move around too much from where they are. So you don't think that another trip back here on another day might mean that you can get access to the other ones.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'll sabotage the 4 weapons I get to and try to make it not so obvious.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and give me an engineering check, because it's going to be 2 heavy ballista and 2 heavy catapults.
That first one is a failure.
Yeah, all right. So the heavy ballista, you don't think that you could make that. You don't think you can sabotage those without making it obvious and noticed.
Okay.
So you move on to the catapults. Now that has been at least a half an hour because you checked both of them just to see if maybe they were slightly different constructions.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Finn, you're scouting out around.
Yeah, just getting an overall view of the activity that's going on.
Okay. With Solus having let you know what he thinks, now you're noticing that there's definitely some unusual activity. There appears to be a search going on. All right,
Very
so
interesting.
Solas, you move on to the catapults,
Mm-hmm.
and go ahead and give me an engineering check. Okay.
Just.
All right. Yeah, another half an hour passes, and you are able to sabotage both of them slightly. Let me make a note of that. You're
I
not
base it.
sure if this is going to work, however, but
Okay.
what your hope is that both of these will malfunction when they're first used and break.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That they break basically when they try to fire them.
Yeah. You won't know if it works until it happens. You've done the best job because like the critical thing here for you is it can't be noticed beforehand. Because if they notice
Yeah.
beforehand, they can fix it, and then of course they'll also know that
Mm-hmm.
someone tried to sabotage them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the gist of it.
okay, so and these are more in the middle. There's 8 heavy weapons on the top, and they're in pairs. And there's a guard near the front and near the back. So you went for the middle ones.
I will make note on the side the heavy weapons that I sabotaged are on. Basically, if we get to ship combat, I will basically hope that we try to stay on that side.
All right, give me a second. I'm making a note. Basically, I'm going to have them roll crushing blow saving throws when they're used.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
It sounds silly,
Mm-hmm.
but could shape wood be used in such a way to make the inside of the wood hollow? Or like holy, like Swiss cheese or something, so when it's put under like strenuous force, it suddenly breaks because it can't maintain its weight or force.
You're shaping the wood so the stuff in there needs to go someplace. So if you were to
Yeah,
do
that's the
something
problem.
like that, it would have to have some bulges coming out elsewhere, kind of thing. I'm not sure that that would be very worthwhile. And don't you need a model of what you're making?
Not with shape wood, no.
No? Okay, that's shaped stone.
But
Okay.
could you make the with shape wood? Could you make basically transfer a bit of wood to make a stopper on some, basically to stop some parts from moving without it being really obvious?
Possibly. It might just
Like
give
an
it a
axle,
chance,
probably.
or like you could make things loose, thin out the wood a little bit, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So yeah, I mean, there's some stuff like that that you could do.
Yeah, though if I remember correctly, shape wood is not something. Is it? Is it on the plant sphere?
Yeah, so me and Finn have access to
Yeah,
it.
so I don't have access to it, so I couldn't do it. So it would have to be you or Finn who did that.
Yeah.
Although you have to shape stone, don't you? You could do something with the cannonballs or catapult balls. I think Finn was going to do soften earth from stone.
Well,
So.
I could if they are unguarded and in the open, and I had the spell memorized.
So this is a catapult. One of these catapults is aimed towards support, and one of them is aimed towards the starboard. So
Okay.
it's one on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 that face towards the aft, and then they have the ballista. They have 2 that are forward starboard and 2 that are forward port.
You said also that there is more heavy weapons on the top side.
There's 8 total.
Okay.
There's a guard near the front 2, and there's a guard near the rear 2, so you went towards the middle ones. You were not able to do anything
Yeah.
with the
Okay.
ballista, either the ballistas. You were able to sabotage both of the catapults.
Yeah.
Because you had to check them both just to see if they were constructed differently, and they aren't.
Yeah, and you can't be certain of these things always.
Yeah.
So
that's been an hour of your time spent doing that.
Okay, I will use half an hour to check the other ships if they have heavy siege weapons that I could get access to.
No, the wasps. They have people on the top. You're not sure if they're like manning the weapons per se, so much as that's just the highest point on the wasps, and thus the best point to guard from and get an overview. To look around the area.
Is there any other machinery that I might be able to sabotage?
Not unless you can think of something that would be obviously around.
Okay. Well, then I will call it for this day.
Okay. Finn, is there anything in particular that you want to try and examine as a bat while you're flying around, keeping an eye on things?
Well, we know that they're searching around, so I don't know that I need to pay any particular attention to that.
Okay.
I can just head back to the ship.
Okay. All right, so the two of you signal to each other and make your way back to your ship in the port, and report on what you've done.
Yeah, I will notify Braxon and Ockar if we get into the combat with the mammoth ship that I hopefully managed to sabotage 2 of the heavy catapults on the ship, and they are one on each side of it.
That's pretty good. Is
And
there any other weapons?
Yeah, two heavy ballistas that I didn't manage to sabotage. They are too well made. Or I would have been able, but they would have noticed them pretty much immediately. And they also have 4 other heavy weapons, but those I did not get access to. They were guarded.
Right.
You might be able to sabotage the ammo rather than the siege weapon.
Yeah.
A simple
Yeah,
wood spell
well,
might work, but it might be too obvious.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see. There's a few days more that we have time, but for today I did not want to risk anymore.
No, sounds good. It's better not to get caught.
Okay.
How about the other ships?
Oh yeah, there were also activity among the crew. It seemed like they were searching for something, so they might have noticed your heist.
Well, one would hope that they did.
But that's something you two can go find out more about if you want to.
We should probably keep tabs on that hotel to see if the hobgoblins stay there. I would have mentioned that to Finn and Braxon. Maybe not to Solas.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have done that while me and Finn were out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We could have done that.
Yeah, if one of you wanted to go and try to surreptitiously check on him, what would you have done?
Just see if he was observable anywhere. See if he's actually in there or not.
Yeah, but how would you do that?
If you had locate the object, you could check with the ring.
Yeah, I didn't memorize the spell.
Were there windows when we went to the room?
Yes, but it was on the second floor. And they weren't well made.
Were they... Did we remember which room the hobgoblin went to? He went to one of the... Was it a suite or...
It was an individual room, but it was not a suite. But it was on the second floor.
Oh, I think someone could look through the window, potentially. I mean, I probably could have a scout around, but I'm using most of my powers today to do that.
Alternately, you could wait until the party, the Solas and Finn get back, and before Finn changes, you could ask him. But
Yeah.
it's up to him if he wants to do that.
Yeah, I mentioned that when he gets back.
Yeah, I could take a flap over there and take a look.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So you fly over there and peek into the window. In through the window, your eyes as a bat are not so horrible that you can't make that out. And you can see a figure still sleeping in the bed of the room that he was left in.
Oh wow, he's out like a
Knocked him
stone.
out good.
I mean, you got him really drunk and you knocked him out, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he needs a lovely, comfortable bed.
A lovely,
also.
comfortable cot, yes.
Wow, compared to where he's probably been asleep, it's probably a lot nicer. Ah, if only we knew if they were searching for this hobgoblin.
Well, yeah, he's not
Again.
suspicious yet, is he?
Again, that was what I said that you could go and find out in the menagerie.
Yeah, but we don't want to make it too obvious. You want to make them work for their information, otherwise it's too too convenient.
What if we went to the menagerie and we just like spread a rumor, so to speak? Just an idle conversation. Oh, there was this hobgoblin. He was loaded last night. He was so
Yeah,
nice. I got a free drink at the tavern.
The
He
problem
really
is,
had a fancy cloak. You know. Well,
the problem is you're handing them the information on a plate. You'd be better off finding someone that they talk to and letting them find out than to hear it secondhand.
I mean, you left his lucky charm there, and
Yeah.
You took him
If
to a
anyone-
boarding house and stuff like that. I mean, for one thing, he has not reported to work.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we've bought something pretending to be him in one place and sold something pretending to be him in another place, and then he's in a boarding house. So
I mean, the bigger thing is that you left his lucky charm there, and he hasn't reported
Yeah.
to work.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the most obvious thing.
And the lucky charm was pretty unique.
unique. If someone knows that he's got it.
Or at least you hope it was.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, him not reporting for work, a lucky charm, you could just, I think that it's a reasonable assumption you could make that, based on your lack of information, it's a reasonable assumption to make that they would probably start asking around to see if anyone hasn't reported into work. Oh, look, that guy has not reported to work. Hey, people who knew him, did he have one of these? Oh, yes, he did.
There's one thing we could do, by the way. We could either have our goblin or hobgoblin, whatever our guest was to write a message in a goblinoid, basically that we could go and give the inn that he's staying to deliver to him. That basically has a. They are looking for you. They suspect you stole money. You should get out. You are in danger.
That's a very good idea.
And if you do it with the hat of disguise, disguised as goblin or hobgoblin or something like that, they couldn't really connect it to us.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
Basically, make the hobgoblin disappear without us actually having to kidnap him.
Do we know of the couriers and the courier service if they do anything non-verbally.
You mean the courier
As-
that Sinray was?
Yeah, I mean, do they actually deliver letters as well?
No, they don't. Not
Yeah.
typically, at least. But the bigger thing is that organization doesn't exist here.
Yeah, no, it's more of a...
I mean, just delivering a note to the reception staff in the inn should work. And saying
No, I
that
think
this is for him.
that's a really good plan. We should totally do that.
Okay.
undo, I guess.
You can definitely write out a note with Margoth's help if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And basically pay for the person working there to deliver that note.
Yeah, just leave, probably a couple of silver. I mean, it's just a letter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And as I said, go in as a goblin or hobgoblin.
Braxon, is that something that you'd want to do?
Yeah, I suppose Braxton should do it because he can talk goblin.
Okay. All right, so you get the letter written out, and Lafdul, you're lending him the Hat of Disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Braxton, are you going to go as a goblin or a hobgoblin or a kobold or something else?
Braxton will go as a hobgoblin and he'll make himself look different from before.
Okay.
Hey, Rastapedes are like the courier, certainly, around here.
Rastapedes work mostly for the arcane.
And
Yeah, but they seem like the odd job kind
this
of
could
guys.
also just be a thing of, hey, little urchin here, deliver this message over there. Here's some
Mhm.
copper coins.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a formal messenger
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
All right, so
Yeah, we could do that.
all right.
Should we find an urchin?
Well, no, I mean you can pretend you can quote, like,
Oh, I see. Pretend to be an
Be
urchin.
it.
or just like, I mean, and again, it doesn't have to be an urchin. It can just be, hey, you're not doing anything. You want to make a couple coppers,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. All right, so Braxton, you change your shape. Take the
Yeah.
letter over to
Is
the
there-
boarding house.
Is there hobgoblins in the town? Or
Yeah,
are
there
they
are.
all from outside?
There are. They're not super common. Neither are goblins, but there are a few.
Yeah,
Okay.
There's
Did that hobgoblin
there's
talk
permanent
about-
goblinoid population.
Did that hobgoblin at all talk about any of his friends?
I mean, you got the names of the other two.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
one of them tipped him off.
Okay.
So put that as like a signature or something.
So the guy that left first, Braxton
He's
will
also
quote his
leaving on a
name.
ship.
And their ship is
He was
already
the one
left.
leaving on the ship.
Their
Yeah,
ship is
so
already
he
left.
he could have been
Oh,
the one
that-
that tips him off.
That ship already left.
Yeah, that
Right.
works, so doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He could have sent it off the night before. He's been out for like God knows
Okay.
how long.
Yeah, Braxton's going to pretend to be sent by him.
Okay. So you go to the boarding house, and the Haredi says as you come in, "Yes, how can I help you? Do you need a room, or would you like the common room?"
Oh, I have a message for Braxton's going to look around and say quietly, Arkush. Do you have Arkush here?
Let me check. Goes to the register. Oh yeah, came in last night. Would you like me to deliver it?
Yes, okay. If he's
That'll
Yes,
be a
he's
copper
awake.
piece.
copper piece. Okay. Braxton will fish out a copper piece. Urgent message.
I'll make sure that he receives it. And she
Thank
takes the message from you. All right, and you head back to the ship.
Yep.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to do? It's probably going to be either late morning or just past noonish by this point. Somewhere in there.
For the
Can
rest of the day, if Solas isn't otherwise inconvenienced, he will continue to make the spellbook for Leva.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Can,
got.
so go on.
No, I was just gonna say I got gem getting to do, but I mean, if we're just waiting, don't know.
I'm not sure that you can do that. You're on the shuttle, not your full ship.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the gems
Either
will be
of
on the
those.
big ship.
I should have mentioned this when you were talking about
Yeah.
the spellbook before, but
Yeah, true.
yeah, you're on the
Well-
shuttle, not the full ship.
You'd have to bring
Yeah,
all
true.
your supplies, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And then Solas is going to study spells.
Can we try and figure out who is taking supplies to and from the menagerie?
I mean, you could go out and try to watch if there's anyone bringing in loads of stuff.
Yeah, like food or anything.
Okay. Is there a plan for that, or do you just want to?
Well, either if the others wanted to tamper with the food, I think Lafdul mentioned Dissension's Feast or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it memorized.
Or if people wanted to pretend that we were helping with a delivery.
They would have to eat. Well, it doesn't say how long the spell stays in effect for. I think you rolled it as like 24 hours, didn't you?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking if we got nothing better to do, is there a place where we can get a good look at things without being too obvious?
Not very easily because of the general light level in the area.
Right.
I was just curious to know how it would work on animals. It would just start getting rowdy and start fighting and bickering, I suppose.
Well, it depends on if you're. I don't know if it could work on feed. Because I think it has to work on like the ingredients kind of thing. I mean, that's what it.
Yeah, it's
seems to
like
indicate,
a
right?
quantity of onions like putting aside. I suppose it'd be
Yeah.
like, because I would have to cast it on like the fermentation liquid that was put in to like make silage or something. I don't know, silage, whatever. Or I don't know, however they make it.
I'll say that I mean, again, because you'd have to use it on the feed itself as opposed to like you'd have to choose to put it on the feed. So unless you get to a point where you're actually trying to do that, I'm not going to make a ruling on that one way or the other.
Yeah,
Because I don't
Yeah.
see any reason, like, I can't see any reason why that would be a good idea at this point over something else that you could affect.
Okay.
Like, why would you want to make the two cows that they have in a cage?
Oh, yeah,
Because I'm
yeah.
a mischief maker, that's why.
Two cows fighting, kind of. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you can affect that, then there's a pretty good chance that you could affect something else that affects the people.
Okay, so what Braxon is going to think about is food might be a bit tricky, but he's going to look for water-carrying people.
It has to be food.
Presumably, well, I think that might be easier than food.
They're pretty close to the water, though. I mean, like,
Oh, do they go around the outside?
well, I'm just
Braxton
saying
wants to
that,
figure this out.
the water here is fresh. It's drinkable.
Yeah. So, but people are going to need to carry water to there every so often.
Yeah, and you can determine that people do that.
Right. Yeah, that's what he wants to figure out. Who's doing that? How often they're taking water over every day and that sort of thing. Whether it's people from the town or people from the menagerie. Where they pick up the water, whether there's any chance that we could interfere with the water.
So I think that you'd determine that they've either like they've probably made a little bit of a canal thing, or they're close enough to the water that they can just get some. I mean,
Right.
water's not really a problem for them, but I also don't think that they're carting barrels and barrels of water into this thing every day. I don't think they need to.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I thought they might have a high water consumption because of the animals.
They only have one big animal.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But that would probably lead to them having made a little canal or something,
Yeah.
or they have a well inside. Like the fact that it's so close to all this water would probably mean a well would be really easy to construct here.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to specifically foil up any plans. I'm just logistically they're going to do something that makes it as easy as possible to give them water, and having people constantly trucking barrels of water from not very far away doesn't seem
No, that's cool. That's cool.
likely.
If I'm trying to case it out, if the answer is that we haven't got an easy way to interfere with the water supply, that's an answer.
Yeah, I don't think that there is. And I think if you're thinking about poisoning the water anyway, it's very questionable.
Well, it wasn't so much poison in it.
I was just thinking of that scene from Final Fantasy VI of Domer Castle. Everyone just gets poisoned.
No, it wasn't so much poison in it. It was like whether we could do anything that makes them drowsy or anything.
I mean, if you're going to do anything with the food, anything that you could do with Dissension's Feast could be swapped out for something else. But
I have Putrefy Food and Water memorized and Dissension's Feast. So I could ruin their supplies, but they're in town, they can just get more.
yeah.
Yeah. What happens if you putrefy water? Does it disappear?
Just because foul water makes you sick if you try and drink it.
Yeah, it gets algae and stuff in it.
Right.
It's pretty obvious after the first taste, or if it's not visible.
Okay.
It's like trying to drink stagnant water, you'll just get sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to try to get in there and cast Dissension's Feast, you can do so.
What, in the menagerie?
Yeah.
Could do. I mean, and the reason why I'm not so enthusiastic about it is I don't see what it would do, carry favor. I mean, it's just causing chaos. I mean,
Yeah.
there would need to be some kind of plot scheme behind it, like I would need someone to be enthralling the audience saying, "Oh, you're not being paid," or there needs to be a follow-up or something.
Yeah, but then if you cause a fight, it could make the town displeased with them.
I mean, if there's a fight breaking out, I suppose I could cast Shape Wood on the rust monster cage and open the bars.
Oh, and let the rust monster out.
They would get slain, but I don't think Finn cares about monsters. I asked Finn how he feels about rust monsters. Are they part of your purview of what you watch over?
Well,
Or
they are living creatures.
Well, I mean, if they were released, but I presume they would be slain if they can't be subdued. I mean, they're not. I mean, there's kind of things you're not so fussed about. I was wondering if the rust monster was one of those.
I suppose if it was given a fair chance.
I mean, it would just be released to the cage, and whatever happens, happens.
The rust monsters got out. Would they try and run into town? Or would they try
they
and
would
run
just
away?
go after feed. They're magnetized to it. Any metal. I suppose me being covered in metal.
Well,
Depends
you
on if
don't
you're
need to
covered in
cover
metal,
yourself. I would suggest you go without any metal on you if you're gonna empty a rust monster out of its cage.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I can look around to see if there's an opportunity to cast Ascension's Feast, given that if a fight starts out, then I can cast Shape Wood and try and release the rust monsters. I mean, I don't know. I mean, those rust monsters could be potential allies in a manner of speaking, in that they're not necessarily fighting us, but they're fighting the guards.
Yeah, they would fight anyone nearby that had metal.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's beneficial for them to be...
Or they might just start eating the bars of other cages.
That's true.
And from what you remember, that was definitely the closest metal to them. Other than, the vagaries of people wandering around kind of thing. In terms of fixed metal near them that does not, move as a person, the metal bars of some of the other cages was definitely the closest metal to them. So unless someone got in their way and distracted them, it is a very reasonable thing that those rust monsters would make a beeline for these other cages.
What was in those cages?
So you remember there were definitely some gargoyles. There were some large bat-like creatures. There was some flapping cloth-like creatures and some big insect-like creatures with long limbs that end in hooks.
Yeah, set them loose.
Now, at the same time,
no guarantee anyways.
Well, it's more... All of that would be good to do at the same time that you're doing other things. If you're just doing that alone, then you're, even with Dissension's Feast, you're looking at them having an easier time of corralling the monsters and creatures and getting them back into cages or something like that, or taking them out if that's what they deem necessary. So, Dissension's Feast can just cause chaos in their camp, but at the same time, you would you'd probably want to tie all of this together with your move, kind of thing.
Well, I know Leva had a plan she wanted to try.
Yeah. Reducing Little One and teleporting him away.
Yeah.
Some of that is going to depend on how much he gets reduced, and if that is crucial to the plan, then yeah, I'd let her do it, even though she's not here.
Yeah.
But again, that's the thing, is that all needs to be the plan.
Yeah.
I think Finn would have to go with Leva because he needs to speak with the animal somewhere to calm it or something.
Well, if the rust monster got out...
Not necessarily. I mean, he might be interested in trying to protect the actual animals that are in cages, too.
We might want to try that releasing those rust monsters and trying to reduce the little one and teleporting it away when they are starting to pack their things up, since then there would not be innocent bystanders in here. Or the last night when they have show. Because there's still less obvious stuff that we might be able to do that makes the whole thing easier.
Yeah.
Releasing rust monsters now or trying to teleport the little one away are pretty obvious attempts.
Maybe, yeah, but also if creatures break out and there's civilians in the area, it's not so obvious who is working against them.
Mm-hmm.
If we go when the place is shut down, then they know we're not meant to be there.
We can always use invisibility spells.
True.
Also, Solas would definitely oppose any action that could cause civilian injuries. or
I'm
victims.
pretty sure Shape Ward wouldn't break my invisibility anyway, so it would just be a case of whether or not someone hears me casting the spell. Although I do have to be within like a certain range. I mean, I think it's like 10 feet.
Well,
Yeah.
Also, real fast, I kind of want to make a point that there's been a lot of so and so would oppose this, but the character is not explicitly saying that
Well,
openly.
Solas, Solas says
hold
it
on.
openly.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
So if there is something that your character would oppose, either don't say so if the others aren't making it clear that this is part of an in-character discussion kind of thing, or hold on, like get it into the
Okay.
role playing. Role play out your opposition as opposed to
Mhm.
just my character would oppose this. That's just what I
Okay.
want to say. I mean, at the same time, it's okay to also say I don't think that doing this. I as the player don't think that doing this when there are other um, when there are civilians around is a great idea. You can do that too.
yeah.
So, like when you're doing the out of character discussion of you as a player is trying to come up with a plan, stick to being out of character players discussing the plan,
Okay.
and then if your character would oppose something, role play that out.
Cool.
Because there's just an element of how do the other characters react to something if they don't actually know this kind of thing. So anyway, go ahead with the planning.
Right. Well, I think it was Finn that was trying to. Well, who was it who wanted to get out the rust monsters? Was it you, Lafdul?
Well, no, I think you just
Finn.
mentioned about the Dissension Feast, and I was just thinking, what can I do with the Chaos? And that was just, well, I could release the monsters once there's enough
Yeah.
distraction going on.
Would it
Yeah.
aid to add to some distraction if one of their wasp ships suddenly caught fire?
That would definitely be a distraction.
Would be very obvious.
I mean, it would be a distraction.
It will be a distraction.
I mean, if the rust monsters get out, that's going to be pretty obvious too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that could be arguably put down to there being a fight breaking out, and it's only a wooden cage.
Yeah, but I mean, the ship catching fire could all, if you've already got Dissension's Feast going on, there's a lot of little chaos that you can do, or big chaos that you can do, that would not necessarily be traced back to you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily be traced back to you. So again, it's going to depend on a lot of other factors. But
how much does ship rigging cost, so to speak, if we destroyed like a good quantity of it? It's just saying if it went up in fire.
I mean, it's in the hundreds.
Sales.
It's in the hundreds of gold pieces.
So it'd be quite a decent setback for them if we keep strangling them for money.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, if you destroy their rigging, unless you come up with a way, a plausible deniability type thing where it's like, they might think that it's just normal wear and tear, or oh, we got hit by a plague of rats or something like that. Something that you can conceivably, they can conceivably think is a natural event or a normal event. It's going to raise suspicion. Dissension's Feast is a thing that, people get angry and they fight. Sometimes it just happens.
And sometimes
depending on what you do, that can just be a quote-unquote normal thing. On the other hand, it is always going to be best to do these sorts of things in conjunction with an overall plan of everything happens at once kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the more things happen, the more things that are happening, the more the people are going to be, you're going to be peeling people off to do different things. If a wasp ship is on fire, some people have to put out that fire.
Yeah.
That's fewer people to try to corral the creatures and stuff like that. So,
well, I suppose if we were going to try to make a wasp catch fire, it's going to come down to, are there any lanterns on the ship
No, I
or any
mean,
cooking fires?
if
That-
well, I mean, if you're gonna do it in just an isolated event, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to make it look like it's an accident, if there's a cooking fire, you can have, you can start the fire, make the fire coming out of the cooking.
I mean, it's
Stuff.
plausible deniability if all the people from that ship suddenly have to go and help and deal with the fight that's breaking out.
Well, what I mean is that
Because the fire
if you're
could just break
triggering a
out 'cause
whole
no
bunch
one's-
of things at once with the end goal and the immediate end goal
Yeah.
of getting the animals and little one out, it doesn't matter if they know that someone is involved. Because obviously, they're going to realize that someone did this by the fact that all of their creatures are gone, or at least most of them, or something like that. So it's only if you want to do things to cause problems leading up to that you need to,
Yeah.
kind of keep them surreptitious.
Well, here's a question: Could we get Leva into the pit with little one? If maybe she was invisible, and we can see whether she can miniaturize little one, and then just take little one away.
I mean, maybe.
Because then we don't need to make a
Depends
lot
on
of
how
fuss.
it depends on how you want to get her in there.
Well, Braxon's got his magic rope.
Well, that's what I
You
mean.
can
suppose.
always.
That's what I mean. Is that it depends on how you want to get her in there. That's going to
Yeah.
be whether you can do it or not.
Yeah.
And
I suppose she can fly as well.
Finn indicated interest in freeing these other creatures too. So
Yeah. I know.
if you can get little one out of there while also rescuing all the other creatures or most of them or something like that, then it's like, kill two birds with one stone kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, obviously the primary objective is little one. What I'm thinking is if we can't get little one out, we might not want to jump with all the other things because they might just double their guard or whatever.
Well, I guess what I mean is, like, you're probably going to want to do a thing that either works, and if it doesn't work, then there's no other attempt kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
There's the
one-
attempt, and it's either successful or it ends in you guys all being killed or captured or something like that. I mean,
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, once we attempt to that reduce and teleport on little one, there's no, it's point of no return. There's no way we can try it again without, since there's not that likely that many spellcasters around here except on the ships.
I mean, part of it is also
one is-
like if you try to be super careful and have
Yeah.
a failure point that you can back out of, then that makes
Yeah.
the whole plan way riskier. If you
Yeah.
go all in, it's actually way less risky.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah,
I suppose one thing I would probably ask first is if we're gonna go all in with this, is it worth taking another day and seeing if we can sabotage anything on the other ships? Because if we go all in with this and it doesn't work and we have to run away, then we can't get a chance to get back to the ships and we have to catch them in the air.
mhm.
Well, that's kind of why it should be. I mean, number one, if you want to basically say we're just going to keep watching until they're packing up, and that's when we go, or we want to keep watching until they're actually leaving, and
Yeah.
that's when we go. That's fine. If it's a case of just we're holding tight, not doing anything for the
Yeah.
couple days that it takes for things to happen. That's perfectly fine.
Oh.
You don't need to actually do something every single day.
Oh no. What I meant was, if we try this and that doesn't work, then we have to meet them in space.
Well, if you try something and it doesn't work, chances are you're going to be also needing to rescue some of your party members. So
Maybe,
Potentially, yes.
yeah.
Leave them to the fate. I think that's the Finn way, isn't it?
But
Let nature
yeah,
take its course.
Yeah.
personally, I think the most optimal time for us to strike, if we plan on striking on the port, would be on the night before they start packing up.
would you want to do it during the final show, so to speak, or after people have left?
I think after people have left, so there's less people around to notice if we do something shady. We can have invisibility spells available for pretty much whole party.
You say that like levels loaded with gum Arabic and stuff.
Well, you got
I
potions
Yes.
too.
Yeah, we have potions, and you have your own ability.
My granddad power. Just wait until I get
Mhm.
pixie dust.
Okay,
Oh,
then.
so much fun.
And if we do it on the last night, they might also be less. They might be a bit more relaxed, since they know that okay, we are packing up tomorrow.
Can we maybe get a chance to sabotage the other ships then? They've got 2 wasps and a barge.
The barges don't have weapons on them.
Yeah. Have we been able to establish if the barge is just towed or if it has a helm?
I believe Finn snuck into them and did not see helms in them. Or at least he didn't
Right.
see any in the ones that he snuck into.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
you
so there's
could
more
add
than one
port
barge.
right now.
Yes, there's more than one barge.
Yeah, they have
Right.
huge amounts of animals, and of course
The
they need the
wasps.
supplies.
I think the wasps were towing.
I think
Oh,
all
the
of their
wasps.
ships are towing cargo barge if they have the capability of it.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that much room on the ships with the crew and animals left for all the supplies they need.
Yeah. So it's going to be trickier if we're trying to grab them in the air because there's going to be one barge that's got little one on which we have to take.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take the ship that's pulling it,
If
and
you
then
can
there's
think,
the other 2 pulling other ships.
if you can think of a way of conveying that the crew are no longer being paid, then I can make a fight break out of my dissension feast amongst the crew during the next time you all have a group meal.
I mean, a fight's gonna break out with dissension's feast no matter what you've done. Like if you hadn't done anything,
Yeah.
a fight would still break out.
They will figure out the reason why they want to punch someone.
Yeah.
Why don't we just do the dissensions feast, and then it doesn't have to be anything to do with us getting everything out. It's just causing problems.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to cast dissension's feast, you don't need to set up a reason for people to get angry at each other with that.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
I mean, I guess I'm just trying to reinforce the fact that they may have potential money issues. I don't know.
Right, but I
more
mean,
attention
I
to it.
think you've done what you can do physically. Like you may still be able to get new stories into that, but you've done what you can do physically in terms of the money. Any further, like they're obviously going to be on higher alert now.
Yeah.
For
How
further
about we do
thievery.
this? How about we do dissensions feast sooner rather than later?
Well,
And then
you'd want to do like it. I would say either you want to do that in an isolated thing where it's just you're ratcheting up the stress of people involved,
Yeah.
potentially having people get
Yeah.
injured and stuff like that, or you want
Yeah.
this to go off right when you are trying to rescue the creatures. Like I don't see doing it any other time is going to be.
I mean, it would
matter.
strategically weaken them. I imagine everyone's got access to a lot of healers, especially if a big fight breaks out.
Yeah, and it's not really going to. It doesn't generally devolve into like stabbing and stuff like that, but
No, it's just temporary
fist
damage.
fights and just and shouting tends to be the thing. But again, like Dissension's Feast will be a thing like uh, two people will start fighting. I can't believe you pronounce car. What is wrong with you? You know, and they start punching each other over that. You know, that's the kind of thing that happens with Dissension's Feast. It can be the littlest, dumbest thing that triggers people to fighting. So you don't need to come up with something for that.
I also need to get access to the food, so it's also a case of figuring out where the hell they're making all the food from.
I would say you either do that now, or you try to wait until Solas said the night before they pack up. But if we let them pack up the animals on the barges, and we could have Dissension's Feast after they've already got the animals packed up, and they all fight each other, we could steal the ships that are towing the barges. So if we have enough helmsmen.
Keep in mind that the fights only last for a certain amount of time.
Right.
I mean, it's measured in turns, not hours or days or anything like that. So
20 minutes.
Well,
if I cast,
it's a lot longer than that, but it's still a thing where, you know, it's something that you either do to ratchet up the tension and ratchet up the stress, or you're doing to create havoc and thus make it easier for you to execute your plan. I don't see any other ways it's going to make any sense.
If I used Chaos on a mixed fight from Dissension's Feast, that would turn a non-lethal fight into a lethal fight.
Quite possibly. I mean, some of the thing is just attack the nearest person, yeah.
Yeah, so they're already fighting for no reason, and it's just suddenly going to turn into a deadly fight for some people. But that means
some people,
innocence
yeah.
might...
Some people will just wander away.
Yeah, well... If I could double down on it.
Yeah.
Which is... Yeah, that might weaken some of their numbers. Yeah, I'll try and see if I can do that, I guess. No, I'm going to see if I can do it today, actually.
I mean, you can definitely scout out where the food is and figure out where you need to go to cast Dissension's Feast, rather than cast it right now. I mean...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you want to head back to the menagerie and figure out where their food preparation is and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll have to skiing as casually as you can, equipment-wise.
You're going to go invisibly?
I don't know, yeah, because, I mean, they're going to be serving food to the patrons as well.
Well, but they don't necessarily serve from the same food stocks.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to... And if you're doing this after the last show, then it's not going to matter with the patrons.
Chaos would... I can't use my invisibility on Chaos. They're the same.
Well, okay, how about this? Does it sound like doing this when they're all packing up? Does that sound like the best time for you guys?
Yeah.
Is there any objection to that?
No, the crew is the most busiest that time, and there's no innocent bystanders.
All right, Finn, Braxon, what do you think?
Well, the only thing I'm saying about if we're going to let them pack up is if they load the animals onto the ships, do they eat after then? Because if we got the animals preloaded in the ships and we cause a fight, we can have people take the ships off, and then the other people can retreat.
I would think they have a meal during, before and after the backing up has been done.
Yeah.
But
Because the thing I'm thinking about when they're packing up is if we're trying to rescue the animals, we've got to get the animals out. And if we're going to wait till quite near to the last minute, they'd be doing all the work for us.
but we are not
That's certainly
sure.
possible if you wanted to wait until they actually get all the creatures packed up. I mean, there's positives and negatives to every plan, so...
Personally, I feel like we should do it during the time they are packing up, since it's easiest to cause chaos and make things happen during that time.
Obviously, if we do all of this, would we be planning on fighting them when they eventually get off afterwards? They'll be in a weakened state slightly.
Well, if we pull it off before they finish packing up, we don't have to fight them.
I'm just wondering if I need to take combat spells as well. So
you should probably take some just to be on the safe side.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think it depends.
Frequently a good idea to mix it up, and so that you're trying
for
to
the
balance
most part,
out
I have.
Going for.
I think it depends on how they pack up. If they do all the animals first and then break down all the other cages and things, pack them up afterwards. If we could somehow get them fighting when they've got the animals on board and they haven't done the other stuff, we don't need the other stuff.
Well, to a certain extent, you may also be limited by when they eat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we will be. Yeah.
Because if you want to get Dissension's Feast, then that needs to coincide with when they eat.
Yeah, and...
Say, Lafdul, you can read people's memories.
Yeah, twice more than amount of spell components.
Okay. Do you think...
I've been using that. I'd be very reluctant to use my last 2 spell components other than what I have been doing with our prisoners.
Okay. Because I was just wondering if you might be able to find out what order things are packed up from someone who did it last time.
Sorry, I had a phone call then. I'd still be remiss to do this.
Okay.
If you don't want to do it, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. That's fine.
It's because I don't have the spell components to spare.
Yeah, that's fine. If you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Okay.
I suppose we could try and get someone else drunk and find out.
Well, I mean...
But if they remembered and said something.
Some of this may depend on what Lafdul discovers when he goes in to scout out their food stores.
Yeah, why don't you scout out their food stores?
Because it might be obvious, it might not.
Yeah.
All right, so Lafdul, how do you want to go about doing that?
At the moment, this is just scouting. It's not actually doing.
Unless you want to do something. I mean, you can make a decision when you're there, but right now you don't. Right now you don't even know if you can do this. For all you know, maybe everyone has to go out and get their own food, kind of thing.
All right, I will plan on not casting it today, so I will just do scouting.
Okay.
That's my intention. So I will use my invisibility to scout.
Okay.
And look around, maybe outer self, and reduce to an autonomy if I need to fly about.
Well, you might need to do that to get in, unless you want to climb over the wall.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
1 second. They got guards on the walls.
They have little towers, little platforms. They don't have, like, walks that people walk along.
I couldn't like shape wood a door, could I?
I mean, you could, but it would be very obvious.
You make a small door.
I mean, unless you shape wood again to return it to its what it was before.
No, I've only got the one spell
Couldn't you-
memorized.
If you was going to do shape wood, can you make it look like an animal's ripped through the wall?
I don't think you could. I mean, like,
It's more of a warpwood, that.
Ah, right, fair enough.
well, it's like you're getting really complex there with trying to, like get it to look like torn up wood and stuff like that, which I don't think is the point of the spell.
Okay, fair enough. Ignore me.
There's a Shatterwood spell that might look like an animal. I just don't have learned that spell.
But I mean, if you want to do that, like the thing though is that anyone who walks along that wall would obviously see the door, or a hole if you make a hole.
Would
or
you
something
like
that.
to,
No, I can.
Lafdul, would you like to take Braxon's rope and then throw the rope up and climb up to the top of
No,
the
because
wall?
I'm
Drop down
literally
the other side.
just doing an observation. I will make myself invisible. I'll get as close as I can. I will reduce myself. I will turn myself into an autonomy. I will cast silence 15-foot radius on an object. I will hold on to that object.
Okay.
I will fly around, see what I see
Okay.
within the time frame. Because I'm not planning on actually doing anything. This is just reconnaissance today.
What's the time frame?
It's going to be about. Hang on, I need to check some spells. I think out of self's a limiting factor. Out of self. Hang on. Outer. There. Duration 3d4 rounds. Sort of, well, probably a minimum of 10 minutes, but the maximum will probably be about 20 or more. 3d4 rounds plus 2 rounds of levels,
So that's what 16 minutes plus 3d4.
16.
Aren't you level 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could probably almost guarantee 20 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, it's more favoured of being not, but there's always a chance. So I'll try for 20 minutes. Well, actually, no, 15 minutes of observation and 5 minutes of getting out.
Okay.
Dodge.
All right. So you flit over the wall, and
wait.
Yep.
I take duration of silence. I think that might be even less of a duration. 2 rounds of level silence, but it's going to be the last spell I cast, so it should be fine.
Okay. All right. So you get over the wall, and you've gone to the back section of the menagerie and gone over the wall that way, so that you're already in the workers area.
And I just fly about.
Yeah, you start looking around, specifically looking for if there's some sort of place where, like, the equivalent of a set-up cafeteria with tables and food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like a mess hall kind of thing. And you do see that there is a tent. It's not a crude tent, but it's like it's not like not one of the fancy tents. It's a tent designed to just do its job. And you go up to the top and look for a way in, and you do see a way in, specifically for like smoke to come out. Because you were able to see through the entrance and see that there were tables in there, and you can see that this is obviously a like a mess hall tent setup. There is a line of portable stoves where they're obviously got like soup cooking and stuff like that. So this is obviously a mess tent. This is obviously where they eat. It looks like right now they're cooking food for an eventual meal. There's like 1 or 2 people sitting at the tables eating, but it's not a big, like it's not full. But you went up to the top to avoid going in case there was anyone around there who might get silenced.
Yeah.
However, it's obvious that they're not storing food there, other than what they're actively cooking. So you look around a little bit more. Give me an intelligence check. Okay. You see kind of a makeshift building set up close by, and you realize that's almost has to be where they're storing food. So you go down there, looking very carefully to see if there's anyone around. There is a closed door on this. This looks like a building that could be taken apart. Like the walls can be disconnected and folded up so that all the stuff
It's
would look.
makeshift or
Well, it's not makeshift so much as portable, so that it could all be, taken down and moved and set up someplace else. Um, because it's not a tent, and it's got walls, and it's got a door. Um, the door is padlocked, but it's a pretty simple lock. You don't think it would be very
Yeah.
hard to pick. However, you would have to pick that to get in. But you can see through some gaps in the walls that there are sacks of grain in there. There's some baskets of dried fruit. Obviously, it's like mushroom fruit. There's bags of mushrooms, stuff like that. There's food stocks in there. So that's obviously where they do that. And give me another intelligence check. Nice. All right, so based on how this is all set up and that you didn't see many people in there other than some people cooking food that obviously was not ready yet, you're guessing that most of the workers do eat together in this mess hall area. Exactly how often, can't tell, but it's reasonable to guess that it's something like breakfast and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, something like that, organized meal time. So you could definitely do a dissensions feast here, and at the next meal time, it's going to affect a lot of workers.
yeah, it seems best. Obviously, to do it then.
Yeah. Inside the big tent, you did notice that there were some big tables, a handful, and a lot of smaller tables. So it looks like most of the people who eat here
Yeah.
are not giants, but there are a few that do.
Most of the grunts,
Yeah.
basically.
So you probably have a minute or two left before you really need to get on the other side
Oh
of the wall.
no, I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going.
All right. I just wanted to give you that opportunity to see if you had any further questions or anything else that you wanted to quickly look at. Nope.
I mean, there's always questions, but no, I'm not risking.
Well, I mean, some of it can be, if there are things that you might have seen that you want me to expand upon that wouldn't necessarily require you to look more deeply, I'm perfectly happy to answer those. If you ask a question, then I'm like, you're gonna have to go look at that again, then you can make the decision as to whether you want to do that.
That tent that had all the cooking stuff in, it wasn't like an open access tent. I would have to either go down the chimney when it's not full of smoke, or sneak in by foot somewhere.
There's a big doorway big enough for giants to go in. Like the tent has sides. The reason that I assumed you wouldn't go in there is because you had the silent 15-foot radius, and if there was anyone around that entrance, they would have immediately caught wind of you.
Yeah.
So if you don't have silent 15-foot radius on and you're invisible, you can just walk right in.
As long as I'm silent about it, yeah. But,
well, I mean, you'd
yeah.
probably want to try to move silently or something like that, but yeah, you can just walk right in.
All right, yeah. Trying to think.
With reduce, you might be able to squeeze into the.
I reduced down to 1 foot basically, So whatever I can fit within 1 foot.
Yeah, but that's 1 foot of height, meaning that your width is, both from across your shoulders and from back to front is a lot smaller than that. You might be able to squeeze in, but it might also be you might not be able to. You're not sure. But it's something that if you wanted to try that rather than picking the lock and opening the door, that's something that you could potentially try to do.
Could a shape wood or a warp wood widen that gap enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, so I could just memorize another shape wood or something.
Warp wood probably do it.
No.
Warp wood, especially as a lower level spell, that would almost certainly do it. Because you could just have like one of the boards
Panels.
warp inwards kind of thing.
You could just push yourself in on whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought I had to cast Dissension's Feast on the food that is being used.
Yeah, but like,
It's like I'm casting it, as it says, on the onions that are being put into the stew.
right, but you also don't like.
There's a limit to how much I can affect.
Yeah, but the thing though is that
It's like £10 of food per level. That's £80 of food.
right, but my point is that you can like you could go in the night before, after they've eaten the night's meal.
Cast it on the next morning's meal.
Yeah, and cast it on what you expect them to use the next morning.
And since we have few days time, you could sneak in to basically check what they usually make in the morning.
Well, if I find a percher, I can just observe, like I have done in the past, on a certain green shield. On the latrine of all places. Oh, that was a fun time.
Give me another intelligence check.
Oh, what's with these intelligence checks today?
Because you're drawing conclusions.
Yeah.
That's a success?
Yeah, 13. Oh,
Okay.
Lafdul has got 10.
Oh, just I didn't think so.
Yeah,
but, I didn't think so, but sometimes I need you guys to confirm it for me because I generally remember your stats, but I don't know what's.
I think I'm the second lowest intelligence. I don't know what Arcos is. I think Braxon's smarter than me. He's got 14. I got 13.
Well, anyway, it does help to for you guys to say my score is X. Partly also for viewers.
Alright.
A 10 does pass. All right, so based on what you saw, I think that you could surmise an ingredient that is going to be used. I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem.
Alright. Common ingredient that's almost guaranteed to be used, like some kind of oats or something, I don't know.
Well, not oats because of the nature of the sphere, but yeah.
Oh.
Like you saw what they were making, and looking at what they have set up, they probably make the same thing all the time, regardless of the meal. So there you go.
Could always consult with our resident cook.
You could do so. All right, so you
not here,
you return to the group and inform them of what you discovered.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other plot discussions? I'm a little bit reluctant to do too much else because we're near the end of the session and we are down 2 players, and they may have some things that they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But
how long does it take for Ascension's Feast to take effect?
Pretty much immediate, I think, as soon as they eat it.
5 rounds after the food has been eaten.
There you go. I mean, that's pretty much immediately.
Oh, the effect.
Yeah,
They do get a saving throw.
Yeah, but I'll be rolling in groups, so.
Yeah. And even those groups that make the saving throw will most likely be dragged into the fight if there's enough people affected. As in, they will try to stop the fight.
Most crew are like level 0 anyway, so. Bottom, or I don't know.
But the fact that it's not immediate, but it has bit time. It allows, basically
multiple
more people
to
to
eat.
more people to eat before the fight start.
And the duration is going to be a couple of hours, so yeah, I mean that's plenty of time for you to, again, it's you get it started, you let it go, and then you trigger everything after, when it's like at its peak kind of thing.
It's like, hey, look, they're having a fight over here. Let's grab some food while we watch the fight. Hey, I'm really angry. I need to join in this fight.
Since the time for the effect is so long, it allows us to let them fight for a bit, and then when then start the Otter Mayhem, like releasing those rust monsters. And
Yeah, I'm gonna be doubling down on that with the chaos, so when it does happen.
Okay.
So I will need invisibility from lover, most likely. I'm pretty sure chaos is considered. Well, it's not directly hostile.
Yeah, it's a hostile act.
It'll break.
also, reason why I suggested that we do it on the last day when they are packing up is that that is the time when it's least likely that the town militia or something like that would involve themselves in it. If there were any citizens in the menagerie, they would most likely have to act if there were chaos like that.
Well, hopefully the idea behind the actual chaos spell, is that they actually injure each other.
Okay.
Well, at least as long as the chaos is in the menagerie high enough, we should be able to do our things in relative peace.
All right, so you're looking at getting this started like the morning that they're packing up. Okay. So
yes, it's like a midday disruption.
Well, it wouldn't be a midday disruption. It would still be
Wow.
morning. It just wouldn't be like
Noon.
early morning. No, not even noon, because you're looking at like you'd want to start doing things like a half an hour after they've eaten. So that the bickering is well underway, but there's still plenty of time left.
Yeah. We don't want the bickerings to stop while we are still doing things, if possible.
Yeah. So does that sound like something that you'd want to go and cast Dissension's Feast on the night before?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know there was talk about reducing Little One and teleporting him away.
Have to make sure Level takes multiples of the spells. There's no guarantee they work.
Well, would you want? I mean, you could still like get him out another way.
Yeah.
We need to figure out where to put it, because this will be the first time Level's actually teleporting to.
Yeah, where would you want to teleport to? That's going to be the big question.
I
I
think...
like it's so like that's something that you'll probably want to talk to her about in between sessions. But
Yeah.
it might be good to have some suggestions going forward so that it's not entirely up to her. But just keep in mind, don't tell her where to teleport.
Okay. Would she know if she would be able to teleport all the way from here to where Little One came from?
I don't think there's any range restriction on teleport.
No.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, I don't know whether there'd be... Yeah, I don't know if there'd be problems going around the corners in the tunnels or anything like that.
No,
she would have to teleport above the water if she wants to guarantee that she doesn't.
Oh, God, yeah. There's that thing where you can appear in the air, isn't there?
Yep.
So if she aims above the water, if she has a slow fall, does she know slow fall? She doesn't.
Yeah. Hey, I brought Little One back. Little One falls 50 foot and
she
dies.
Could borrow Finn's ring.
Yeah, I could loan
That's
her
got
that
a
ring.
With a slow fall.
Yeah,
so
but
slow Little One will be fine. It will land in the water.
But keep
But
in
how
mind
one
that
can-
keep in mind that she would be alone out there for days,
Yeah.
away from not only you guys, but away from her spell books, away from all of her equipment.
Well, if someone like
Uh,
Finn goes with her, who can survive out in the wilds rather well?
Question.
Yeah.
Is there any shipwright in the Tukori?
There might be. You haven't looked.
I'm thinking if we could get our own cargo barge.
Takes a while to build them.
They might have something that could work all ready or almost ready.
I think
What
I think
context?
your best bet is that if you want a cargo barge, to steal one of theirs,
Yeah.
True.
because it's
Yeah,
either
that's what I was thinking.
you would either have to put out a lot of money to get one,
Mhm.
or they wouldn't be able to build one in time. So
Yeah.
Well, we would. I think the safest bet would be that if the teleport thing works, Leva would teleport in somewhere where we could possibly pick her and the little one up.
Yeah, that's true. She'd still be at the fight,
Mm-hmm.
but it would get little one away.
Teleporting straight to the cavern where we are taking the little one would be
Well-
quite risky.
Isn't she 10th level? She can have 2 5th level spells of whatever she wants and 1 wild magic. So she's got 3.
I don't I would let her decide how many
Yeah, I'm
she
just-
wants to keep.
Yeah, I mean
Theorycrafting.
that's her decision. I mean, if she teleported straight there, she solved the problem
She
of
goes to teleport back.
little one's mum squashing all the towns, or little one's dad. I don't know, whatever it is.
Well, she would need to teleport where that little one's parent is, but we don't know the exact location where it is at the moment.
No. If she teleported somewhere else, we would have to be able to go and intercept her and pick her up, and pick
Yeah,
little one up as well.
But
I mean,
teleporting.
Again, you've got a couple days
Yeah.
to decide that if you want to, like,
Yeah.
if that's the goal,
Yeah.
then
Um,
it's perfectly reasonable to go have her study that location out of town,
Yeah.
and you could even have your ship waiting there or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like.
For
This is
example,
more of a ATM question, but would you allow like the equivalent of like making like the equivalent of like a focus that would give her like a slightly better chance?
For teleport?
Yeah. I know it's not really written in the rule. I'm just wondering if you would do that kind of thing.
No, she needs to go study the place.
Alright.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's unless you set up a permanent teleport that isn't necessary, then
Mm-hmm.
she needs to be very familiar with the location, studied carefully, seen casually, viewed once, never seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what those are the descriptions that you're looking at. Very familiar is not going to work with any place in the next couple days. The only places that would work for that is your ship, and well, back on places back in Brawl Space, but you can't teleport there.
Okay. Can I?
But
The best she could do right now is study carefully.
mhm.
Okay. Can I ask a question while Lever's away, which I would normally ask Lever?
Yeah.
How many times can she learn teleport? Is it once or more than once?
Twice. Just 3 5th level spells.
Right.
One has to be a wild magic, so twice.
So in theory,
Yeah, there and
depending
back.
on what she wanted to do, in theory, she could teleport with little one back to where we've got to take little one, and then teleport back to us if she had enough material components.
It doesn't
There, none.
require material
Just
components,
verbal.
but it's still it would still be more risky for the
Yeah.
completion of mission since there's no chance that she is able to teleport exactly where the parent is, and leaving little one on its own might be risky for the little one since there might be some creatures that might be able to attack the little one if
Well,
the parent is not protecting it.
Yeah, but we told the villagers, so if she took little one to the villagers after she teleported there, they
They
will
can't
they would.
communicate.
Oh yeah, no, she can
Yeah.
talk. She can talk
That's what Finn
illicit
does.
trade tongue.
Yeah, but the
Wow.
villagers can't talk to the little one or its parent.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think I think the safest bet would be if Leva uses a few days to basically study an area on the north side of this. Is it sea or lake?
It's
And
it's a sea.
one she teleports to the other side of the lake.
yeah, and we
Yeah,
have
but
our.
will she leave little one there and teleport back to us, or just stay there?
We can have our ship in there.
Oh, our big
The
ship.
Yeah, big ship.
Well, the big ship can't land, so it would have to hover. But that's
Yeah,
fine; it can hover.
But we can have, for example, a Finn there to speak with the little one and tell it that we are taking it to its mother, and we want, and he needs to wait.
That's true, but if Lever teleports with little one to the other side of the lake and Finn's on the other side of the lake, there's two people not available to do other stuff.
Yeah, but I think once we teleport the little one, we should be ready to go anyway. In that case.
She's only doing the teleport because we're doing Dissension's Feast and stuff, causing a distraction. So
yeah.
So,
we just got 1,000 bits for saying teleport a lot.
But we need to figure out how to implement the cargo barge theft into it.
Yeah.
The plan. But
No, I'm not saying we shouldn't do this cargo barge. I'm just it's the fact that if Lever teleports away, she's not available for the rest of the combat unless she comes back.
You're assuming there's going to be combat.
Or whatever. I mean, she wouldn't be available.
She also wouldn't be available to cast further spells to either increase the chaos or help you guys get out.
Yeah, she couldn't get on a helm and fly a ship or anything like that.
Yeah, but if that is basically the last thing she does, and if we time it correctly, we could have the theft of the cargo barge happen at the same time.
Definitely.
Do we take the wasp?
It would basically be us running away while she teleports little one away.
Yeah.
So and that is what we most likely should do. That
we don't forget also. Sorry, go on. Carry on.
Basically, the theft of the little one and the theft of the cargo barge should happen at the same time.
Yes and no. Teleporting little one away, if anything went wrong and Lever had a wild surge and couldn't get the teleport spell to work. Yeah. I don't know what would go wrong with a wild surge on teleport, but
spell is twice as effective. She oversteps.
Yeah, she teleports back to Kryn space and we never see her again. But if anything went wrong, we need to be able to immediately do something else to make sure little one escapes. So yes, that can happen at the same time, but we need to be prepared for anything to stop little one from getting away, because little one's our primary objective.
Yes, and
well, if you're also stealing a cargo barge, then you can if you fail to teleport little one, then you could try to get it onto the barge. So that can be a backup plan, while also getting the other animals and things on the cargo barge.
If Finn put a gift of speech on the little one, I wonder if Lever could lesser gear it. If it's 7 hit die or less.
It is not 7 hit dice or less.
It's
It is not.
more.
It's a
it's
baby
definitely
creature.
more.
It's a baby creature, but it's a baby creature that's 40 feet tall.
It's basically close to a dragon in its hit dice.
Oh, we just need Lever to know 6th level spells then. Silver a lot of problems.
You know what would also solve all of your problems? If all of you had access to the highest level spells and the best magic items in the game. Yeah, that would also solve all your
Yeah.
problems. You know what would also solve all your problems? If you were all gods.
Yeah.
If
Coulda, woulda,
Braxon was
shoulda.
a god,
Maybe focus on what you can do.
if Braxon was a god, he'd be the god of wood.
And like Lafdul said, Leva can have 2 teleport spells, so she has 2 tries on the teleportation.
Yeah, that's true.
One other thing is that you can bring a helm along with you if you
That's
want
true.
to steal the cargo barge.
Yeah.
What if we make the creature inanimate? If Solas casts suspended animation on it, and then we mount a helm on it.
Whoa. Oh, I've just thought of something.
Isn't
I've
that
just
what
thought-
Spelljammer is all about?
No, I've just thought of something. If we can get little one onto a cargo barge, and we put the elven helm onto the cargo barge, it vanishes for like an hour,
No, half an hour.
half an hour. Well, blimey, it's still gone for
Actually,
half
no,
an
was it
hour.
10 minutes? I can't remember now.
It was half an hour, if I remember correctly.
Well, it's enough to take off and fly
Yeah.
away.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to just think you've teleported away. When you haven't teleported away, you're just taking off.
Yeah, but that's still the backup plan.
Yeah.
Also, we should.
Do we know how long it takes to install a helm on a ship? We've done it a few times.
I
don't
think
reckon I
because you know, I mean, like, you would know about cargo barges. They're specifically designed, like, most of them don't have helms, but being able to quickly put a helm on them is kind of crucial.
Yeah.
So I would probably, I'm gonna say 2d6 rounds is how long it would take to get a helm mounted. Keep in mind that it's
Right.
also 1d8 rounds to warm up the helm and lift off of it.
Yeah. Would we be able to speed that sort of thing up by pre-drilling holes or anything?
No, because it's all like a cargo barge is
haste.
prepped for it.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. So it's just a matter of we bring the helm bolts and screw the bolts on or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you just say that you're preparing to do that, I'm not even gonna figure out exactly how it works. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're securing you're securing the helm. It'll take 2d6 rounds. If you can think of a reasonable way to speed that up, there was mention of haste.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure we brought that helm with us as well as
I
another
think that's
helm.
on our dolphin at the moment, isn't it?
Isn't it on our flitter, the invisibility helm?
It was, but I think we changed it to this one.
It might. I think it might
on
be
the
on the one
shuttle.
we're on. I think it is on.
But in any case, we still can go and fetch it.
Yeah, but if you
Well-
want, I mean, like this.
Yeah.
This may be a situation where you take off anyway. I mean, like,
Yeah.
because you would also then have to coordinate with your other ship to get, you know, and if the ship is still in port when all of this is going on, I mean, like, you might want to go meet up with your, you know, dock back up with the Dolphin anyway, and start that as a base of operations. Not necessarily have it visible at the time that everything is going on, but it would, you know, you might still want it in reserve or something like that. With a plan to meet up or something like that.
Also, if we leave now, it might reduce the suspicions that are thrown in our direction once all of this goes. Basically, when we act the plan. So I think we should return to the big ship, and if we want to do more scouting or information gathering, we can use the flitter with the invisibility helm to basically land somewhere close by.
How loud is that flare?
I mean,
If it's just hovering in the air.
it doesn't have a noisy engine, but it's
Yeah,
not.
but it's got wings and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but they don't flap.
Oh, it
It's
creaks.
basically as it basically makes as much noise as trees does when wind ruffles them.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty good analogy.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not
So-
silent, but it's also not like an engine revving there or the sound of a jet engine or something like that. I mean, there's none of that.
Yeah, it's basically like I said, as much a noise as wind trees make when the wind is blowing. Since it's mostly plant
That's
based,
good.
isn't it?
There's a bit of a tinkling sound because it's a crystalline plant. But
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean,
it's silent.
well, it's not silent, but it depends on
Very quiet.
again, it depends on what you want to do. That's going to determine a lot of how my answer is going to be, simply because how loud it is or how quiet it is kind of going to be relative to the activity involved.
That invisibility spell, it's only on people, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and their stuff while they're, holding it and stuff like that. But
Okay.
There are other spells that can make other things go invisible or less noticeable.
No, I was just thinking if we were going to sneak off and then sneak back, how do we get a helm there? One answer would be we could land in that set of woods, and then someone would have to walk across the open plain with that
Well, Leva
elven
knows
helm.
the invisibility 10-foot radius. I know that. If it's within 10 feet. Okay.
Oh yeah, there was that one that was used before.
She rarely uses that spell, but she has it, as far as I know.
Doesn't Solas have something like that? We went on that thing and Solas had to sit somewhere.
And the wizards are adamant
it's-
on not taking the same
it's-
spells.
It's not the spell that I used was Leomund's
Tiny hat.
Lemon's tiny hat, which basically it doesn't make it invisible, but it creates an opaque sphere that doesn't show anything what's inside of
Right.
it.
Got ya.
It was
Yeah,
just
and it worked
really
'cause it
good
was
dark on
right?
dark. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can control its color.
all right,
Yeah,
so you're looking at planning to have Lafdul go in the night before, cast Ascension's Feast.
Mhm.
You could then take off in the shuttle and get back to your ship, and then go in the early morning, wait for them to start bickering, and then pull the trigger for the rest of the plan. You'll want to decide, what each ship is doing, who is helming them, and stuff like that. But I'm perfectly fine if there's other reconnaissance that you guys want to do in next session. Otherwise, I think we might want to advance to that morning.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's see
how many
what
days are
Leopard
passing?
says.
Because I need to track.
You spend another day here.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's mainly for my contact home power, so let's go down.
I mean, you will have at least a day of not really doing much if you just want to advance to the day that they are ready to move on. You'll have at least a
I
day
wanna-
if you want to recast some of those spells. So
I know. I just
yeah,
want to know if
and,
that hobgoblin's fled during
you'll
the downtime.
you're not sure. I mean, if you want to go out and look
Aw.
again, I mean, Braxon's delivered a message and that's it. And so
Yeah.
again, next session, if you guys want to check on some of these things, perfectly fine with that. Otherwise, we can advance right to that morning, or the night before, really, to handle the Dissension's Feast, and then jump to that morning.
How long does Leva need to take time to study the target area to get that studied carefully for the teleportation?
She would probably want to take at least an hour of studying the area, the specific area that she's going to teleport to.
Yeah.
At least an hour.
So we should spend some time at least Leva should spend with some time looking up the best possible location to teleport on the northern shore of this water.
Hmm.
Well, it doesn't even have to be that far. I mean, because that's actually quite a ways away. Remember.
Well, yeah. Well, at least far enough that it's not in anywhere visible from the Tukori or its sky.
Right, but
Yeah.
you'd probably want it to be close to where your ship is or something like that. And keep in mind, like, again, it may also just be easier to get Little One onto the
Cargo barge.
Cargo barge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
keep that in mind
she
too.
could. That's a plan. How about she teleports Little One to the cargo barge once we're ready to go?
I mean, it's something to consider. I'd say take this next week to discuss that.
We
Um,
got our tomorrow meetup, I think so.
Yeah.
People.
and
we'll
see
do
what you guys wanna do for next week. All right, sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions that you guys have before we wrap it up?
Well, if Leather can't teleport Little One, and if Finn's able to talk to Little One, Finn might be able to get Little One to walk onto the barge. But then we'd have to get the doors open, wouldn't we?
Well, but
We're looking at busting
Lafdul-
open 2 sets of doors.
Lafdul had ideas for that in terms of not 2 sets, because you'd only have to get him out of the pit he's in, and then guide him up to the cargo barge. Or if
The cargo barges are inside the enclosure.
Yeah, all the ships.
Sorry, I thought they were outside and the
No,
ships were outside.
All the ships are inside the enclosure.
Right, got ya.
I mean, the closure is there to protect their property.
Yeah.
And again, alternately, you could also just move the cargo barge over into the pit, get him on there, and then fly off. I mean, there's a lot of different
True.
ways that you could do it. And being flexible is great. Things may change. Situations may change. But
Well, as the great wisdom is, the battle plans last until the first contact with enemy.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the first hour or something?
No, it's usually the first contact. Since
Yeah.
after that you basically have to start winging it.
you have to react to what they're doing. In other
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, think about how you want to do that, what the best plan is going to be, where your ships will be, and stuff like that. All right. So we are looking at for XP. That is going to be 4,000 XP for Braxon.
Woohoo!
2,300 for Finn. 2,200 for Solas. And for Lafdul, 2,000 plus 1,000 for your thief.
It was 2,200.
Yeah.
So 1,100 for each. The pains of multiclass, having to do math.
Yeah, especially when one of them gets 10% and the other one doesn't.
Thankfully, both of mine gets the 10%.
Yeah, I was missing the intelligence. I think I need 15 intelligence to get my bonus.
Oh, I just need to get some of those books and stuff. Some witch spells.
It deprived the wizards.
My books.
There was this hilarious and I'm fine with this being on the stream while you guys figure out
you're
your
gonna tell
XP.
them.
Yeah, the hilarious thread on Dragon's Foot. Someone claimed that they found a flaw in the rules regarding mirrors of opposition, because the players could find like a kobold or a goblin, low hit die creature that can't really harm them in any way. Give them a locked box full of rings of wishes, get a duplicate, and then they just need to open up the duplicate's box of wishes, box of rings of wishes, and use them. And it's like, yeah, if as a dungeon master, if you have put the players in a situation where they have multiple rings of wishes and a mirror of opposition to do that, either you have just a crazy overpowered campaign, which is just nuts, and that's what you're going for, in which case it's not a problem, roll with it, or you have really, really, really messed up how your campaign is, in which case, there's problems other than what they're trying to do that you need to solve, too. It's like, those are the situations there. It's not a problem with the rules. That's a problem that the dungeon master has.
If there's any point in a campaign that players have multiple rings of wishes, it's basically time to say that I think it's pretty much time to wrap this campaign up.
You should be looking to retire your character if you got a ring of wishes, because you can effectively
Yeah.
do what your character's goal is at that point.
Yeah.
As long as you
Surely-
word the wish right.
Surely the good kobolds have run off to find some good organisation that deserves rings of 3 wishes more than the players.
Well, but see, the point is that the creature carrying the box doesn't have a key to the box,
Right.
and the thing about a mirror of opposition is that the duplicate it creates immediately tries to fight its opposite.
Yeah.
So it's just
So
like if they're in if they're in a situation where they have multiple rings of wishes, you got other problems beyond this one that you've brought up that you think is a flaw in the game that
So
you need
the
to solve
mirror-
first.
So the mirror that we destroyed in the Citadel was mirror of opposition.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
And Ockar wanted to destroy. I was like, no, we could exploit this. Yeah, you wanted to use my Wonder on me, but I think it got dispelled temporarily.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for playing. Thanks everyone out there for watching. Thanks for all the bits and gift subs. That has been fantastic. Really do appreciate it.
And great.
Thanks for the raid.
And
That's
and the
huge.
raid from Lord Gosumba as well. Really do appreciate it. Thank you guys, all of you. It really does mean a lot to me. We will be back next week, hopefully advancing to the plan and trying to rescue a little one.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
Hopefully
game.
2 other people.
See you
Thanks
next
for
time,
everyone
everyone.
watching.
See ya.
See ya.
Take care, everyone.